Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name Nurul Uswatun Hasanah. I am going to present about a review of the journal. The title is Breaking Crisis Cooperative Maxims in Humorous Interaction, a Pragmatylistic Study of Charles Major Barbara. The table of the contents in this journal are introduction, literature review, methodology, data analysis, and conclusion. First, it is introduction. The study attempts to apply a pragmatic model of cooperative principles formulated by Grice in 1957 to analyze conversation in which humor is credited in Charles Major Barbara. The analytical construct or refers to literature review. Actually, it is about linguistic pragmatics. The study was applied by Grice theory about cooperative principle that are divided into four parts. First is maxim of quantity, quality, relevant, and manner. Then it will be implied in the implicature breaking of the maxims. The breaking of the maxim itself will be consist of 5 parts. There are floating of the maxim, violating, opting out, infringing, suspending. This research focused on the Charles Major Barbara. It is about humor. The humor form itself consists of 4 parts. There are irony, satire, pun, and wit. Pragmatic cooperative theory. Pragmatic is study of relationship between linguistic forms and the user of those forms. The study of the aspect of meaning and language use that are dependent on the speaker and the address of the context we address. The cooperative theory that uses Grice theory about cooperative principle is make your conversational contribution, such as required at the stage at which it occurs by the accepted purposes or direction of the talk exchange in which you are engaged. In this case, Grice work of cooperative principle established that in conversation, interlocutor must cooperate to some extent as even the purpose, whatever that purpose might be. This is true for any conversation. Each participant need to understand and the other, no matter what it is for its argument and hard beginning, or this is friendly conversation between your worker. The Grice cooperative principle, there are focused on conversational maxims. There are consists of 4 maxim. There are the maxim of quantity. It is exchange require information, or we can know giving information or answer the question was required. It is like this, like the example is, the job is made by my friends. Here, this sentence must be brief and clear. And the second example about maximum of quantity is, the job is made by all my girlfriends. It is too long. Hijab, it will be presented of female person, so it is not need for long explanation. It is a quantity. The focus on the text was clear. And the second is quality. Speaker should tell the example. When A asked to B, hey, where is he live? And B answered, if I'm not mistaken, he lives with grandfather. The B answered the third. If B not mistaken, B no, he lives. He lives. So the quality answer the truth of the conditions. And the maxims of relevance, it is focused on relevant information. Answer with relevant from the question, like A asked to B, what's your name? A asked, and B answer. In here, there are consists of three examples to answer the question of A. There are first, B answered Andy, only Andy. And then second, B answered my name is Andy. He tell more about he. And the last, B answered, don't you know my name? This is not relevant. A asked, siapa nama kamu? Dan B harusnya menjawab Andi because it's relevant with the question. And second one, who is your name? B answered, my name is Andy. It's more polite. But the last example, who is your name? A asked, and B answered, don't you know my name? It is not relevant when between question and the answer. And the last is maxim of manner. Information should not be ambiguous. The speaker to be clear and orderly when conversing in order to avoid ambiguity. It is about the concept of implication. Implication itself. It means more being communicated than is said. An implicature is something mean implied or suggested distinct from utterance to. And while the conversation implicature a meaning or message that is implied in a conversation. It is from based on Grice, makes a distinction between two different kinds of implicature, conversational and conventional. Both types of implication convey a conversational. Whereas taking into consideration the case of breaking character maxim, the speaker obliges the listener to draw more inference and principle is still cooperative. And then the breaking the maxims itself divided into 5 parts. There are floating the maxim, violating, option of the maxim, infringing, and suspending. Floating the maxim is when the speaker arrives at attending meaning in direct way. It is the example when Bob asks, what were you and Anna talking about? You were looking at me all the time. And Mary, oh, well, why don't we go get something to drink? The Mary answered, based on Bob's question with a suggestion in obvious attempt to effect it, perhaps to avoid hurting Bob's feeling. And she thought the maxim of floating the maxim. And the second one, floating the maxim, is communication failure. It is the example when the teacher asks the students, why didn't you do your homework? And the students answer, may I go to the or get some water? I am so thirsty. In this above, the student's answer is by no means relevant to the teacher's question. One reason for this answer can be the fact that the student is trying to evade the interrogation posed by the teacher. And the third about opting out the maxim, unwillingness to cooperate in the way that the maxim requires. The example of this is like A asks, what is the current situation of Congress in regards to the latest cases of corruption? But the another speaker B answer, I'm sorry, this information is very confidential. Yes. Then about infringing, speakers have failed to observe a message without the intention to generate an implication the listener. It's like um, there's someone example, someone learning English as a second language speaks to native speaker. When the English speaker asks, would you like ham or salad or your sandwich? And the non-English speaker answer yes. It is the implicator has not generated by interlocutor. The speaker has not understood the native speaker not don't understand the address. The answer might be interpreted as non English speakers. This is in this case the different social knowledge which implied a different implication. And the last is suspending the maxim. It is about the speaker may suspend a maxim due cultural difference as an event. Humor. Humor is an interesting aspect for revealing frequently around various culture, social construction, orientation, social situation, and even how language works. Is the purpose of humor itself is similar to that of language, which is the internalization of human thought and conceptualization. Well, the form of humor is the recur most frequently in the existing literature on the pragmatism of humor. They are divided into four parts. There are irony, satire, pun, and wit. The first irony. Irony is the space between what is said and what is meant. It is like irony refers to the situation which is particular text with a particular result is represented in very different result. Well, the satire, the literary art of diminution or derogating a subject by making it ridiculous and evoking toward it attitudes of amusement, contempt, scorn, and indignation. The the roots of the term satire date back to the classical age, but word produced from the Latin word satura, which was used by the Roman rhetorician. The third is pun, a figure of speech which involves a play even words. Punning refers to an art that dates back on the Greco-Roman time used for teaching or rhetoric. The last is wit or witticism is expression with various meanings extending from generic idea or intelligent to particular notion of inequity to the narrowing concept of Muslim verbal cleverness. It is one liveliness and brilliance of conversation. The methodology that used in this research is quantitative research, when language is used as a main tool for interpreting the data, as the main data of the study are from conversation taken from Shaw's Major Barbara play. And the researcher conclude this analysis based on the kinds of maxim throughout the play for humor creation in form of creating the data analysis. The current study is attempts to apply Grice cooperative principle in 1957 as a tool to approach humorous conversation in shows Major Barbara. Major Barbara is one of the short lines played through which he intends to bring out the relationship between trade or occupation and greed implicit in its pursuit. The whole play is considered with money, and the play opens in the luxurious library of the house in Walton Crescent and is dominated by affairs of Lady Britomart. Major Barbara deals with contradictory ideas when Salvation Army or SA attempts to remedy social evils that can be continued through the charity of those whose money is caused by those evils. The central theme of the play is the conflict between social and moral ethnic. In this case, Barbara aims to save her father's soul at the time that he wants to change her thought to his philosophy. Andershoff believes that poverty is a crime and man must have money to make care of his basic needs. He thinks that it is correct to make a fortune from making and selling guns, and he prefers to be a thief than die as pauper. So, this object of this research will be implied in Grice theory. For the result and discussion were divided into two parts. There are non-observance of the four maxims. There are quantity, quality, relevant, and manner. And the second one is form of humor created by Maxim breaking in Major Barbara. There are divided four parts. Also, there are wit, irony, satire, and fun. The first, it is about non-observance of the four maxims. Non-observance of the four maxim. There is a comparison between the conversational maxim and linguistic rule. That kind of construct and linguistic behavior explained by Grice's cooperative principle differs from the kind of rule normally formulated in linguistics. This like the maxim are brought differently from one character to another. Based on the table explained, the maxim of quantity is the most broken trope of the play since the major characters are from high class, and each one provides much information in order to show off considering him or herself better than others. First, the non-observance that exploit the maxim of quantity. The maxim of quantity based on Thomas fails to be observed when one deliberately gives more or less information than needed within a conversation. Like in this example, when Bill asks to Jenny, "I don't want to forgive you or anybody. What I did, I will pay for. I tried to get me on your broke to spare you." The journalist only answered, "Oh no." It is the maxim is suspended since Jenny believes that everybody knows that according to the salvation norms, one cannot buy forgiveness only by paying for it. Jenny suspends the maxim of quantity since she does not provide the right amount of information explaining the reason that prevent her taking. And the second is about the non-observance that display the maxim of quality. The maxim of quality fails when a speaker deliberately says something that is untrue or when the speaker has inadequate evidence for what she or he says. The example in citation 2, Stephen speak. We are utterly dependent on him and his kindness then. Well, the lady with the mark, certainly not, but he stopped her speak. Then Stephen answered again, nor do I. While the lady Beethoven answered, Basrah does, and Barbara does. That is, Charles Lomas and all those cousins will the more, so I must put my pride in my pocket and ask for it. I suppose that is your advice, Stephen, is it not? Stephen only answered no. In this case, the setting of the conversation above is in Lady Broadman library when Stephen and his mother are discussing the financial difficulties of the family, and the maxim of quality is violated by Lady Bricktomart, who tries to mislead Stephen by implying something false that asking for money is Stephen's advice, since she bullies him into making that his advice. And the third, the non-observance that exploit the maxim of relevance. It will be failed to be observed when an individual gives a response or make an observation that is not deliberately relevant to the topic that is being discussed. And the third situation, Lady Borgman 6. Andrew, this is not a question of our leakings and this practicing. It is a question of duty. It's your duty to make Stephen your son. Okay, sure. But the understand no answer anything. And Lady Broadman speaks against. Andrew, you can take my head off, but you can't change wrong into right. And your tie is all one on one side. Put it right. The lady breathed to Mart, expressed expressed her annoyance about Anderson making fun of his way of clothing while at the same time not ordering the maxim of relation. Therefore, she or Lady Bretman got the relation maxim by criticizing Anderson's clothing in order to create an implication that is his ideas and thinking as his time are not direct and observation. There is a bit exaggeration Palestine since Lady Whitman adds an irrelevant significance to her utterance. The last is the non-observance that exploit the maxim of manner. The maxim of manner is filed to be observed when the speaker is not being brave, using obscure language, not being orderly or ambiguous. In the fourth situation, Barbara asks, are you joking, Charlie? Cousin answered, no. Have made a night of it with the nominal head of the household, that is all. While the cousin infringes the maxim of manners since he used indirect utterance for being drunken. He generates an implication that Undershop has no role in his family and he is no nominal. So, in regard to the maxim broken, the maxim of quantity is the most frequently broken in Major Barbara. The findings show that total occurrence of the quantity maxim in 104 times. In the second, the maxim of manner, which resides 26 times for an observed maxim. This maxim is broke when characters look cunning and use psycho-idiomatic expression to make the statement stranger and stronger at the same time. The third is from maxim of relevance includes 28 times of the total number of occurrences along the play. The characters utilize irrelevant utterance when they aim to inform an information indirectly. And the last is maxim quality is the last number around the play. Take off 11 times. The, the character focus on important point when they say something implying another thing with more significance. The second part it is about forms of humor created by Maxim breaking in Major Barbara. Based on the analysis, it is found that the characters break the maxim in order to produce sense of humor and comic events. Furthermore, different forms of humor are created by breaking the conventional maxim. The statistical findings reveal that 113 times are apportioned to wit, topping hence the list. The highest is wit. The explanation one by one. First is irony. Irony is the character in Major Barbara use expressions and sentence whose literal meaning differs from the intended meaning. Based on the situation 5 is tells the undershot aims to generate an implication that Stephen should go into politics science. He is like politicians pretend that they know everything, but they actually know nothing. Understand what the maxim because he responds to Lady Brickman with an irony by saying words that are contrary to the real fact. Second is satire, is represent aggressive humor. They focus fun in various social events. It's focused on the ideas and beliefs held by culture to present them for criticism. In sixth situation tells Cassie tries to communicate with Lady Brickman with satire. His satire is a kind of aggressive humor to make fun at Lady Brickman's behavior, which implies that her traditions are not recognized. When Cassin wants to satire educational system in England, which has bad effect on learners. Cassin tries to communicate with Lady Brickman with his subtitles. The point, characters employ this form of humor by using words or phrases to evoke a second meaning for the purpose of creating comic sense based on the object that implied. The maxim of manner is floated by Lomax when he says an obscure utterance as explanation of Maria's son's stress. The ambiguity in Lomax saying results in confusing Lady Britomart and making her nervous. And last is wit. Wit is considered as an intelligent form since the characters try to be clever in conveying their exact message by making fun. Based on the situation A, the bill violates the maxim of quantity intended to mislead Jenny in a clever way Jenny in order to forgive him without trying to convert him. Bill provide extra information to convey that he is trying to get the army to accept a sovereign compensation to what he did to Jenny. And then Bill used wit in order to convey his idea, which implies that he can be forgiven whenever he wants by paying money to the army in a clever manner, making sense of community. So, with it will be tackles 130 times, distributed on the three acts. It reflects the witticism and difference of character for conveying their ideas clearly. The distribution of this form humor is clearly uninformed. In other words, humor is waving toward the gap that is filled with interaction. And the irony comes next the form of it, which came 47 times. It is clear that most of irons are used by characters that have strong personality to explore the conservative ideas in its color and naked form. And the third is satire, which handled 30 times. The Major Barbara hit Ada forced vigorously to criticize the distinct classes in the society. The last from Hun, which recites 22 times. This form is created from amusement effect and they are used mostly by character with big roles or minor characters in order to make certain situation more like it. In the conclusion, as the breaking of Grice cooperative principle, the research showed that the overall occurrence of the broken maxim throughout the whole play, both intentional and unintentional humor are found in the play throughout the analysis of the data, with conversational humor has the highest rank that gets highest rank because it is regarded to be the whispered form humor people use in daily basis. In this study showed that the conversational maxims are significant for evoking feelings and interaction among interlocutors. Thus, the linguistic communication is not easily understood unless there are different elements of language which leads to a clear comprehension of what is said and asserted. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your attention. Last essay. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.